It's a victory! I got the title of Beauty Queen. I'm so happy to be standing here in front of the audience. But what's wrong with my hands? They're huge and hairy. Why is the dress bursting at the seams? I rushed to the mirror in the dressing room. I have an Adam's apple and my face is all covered with stubble. There was a giant man in the reflection. That moment, I woke up and immediately ran to the mirror. Is it just me? Or am I really getting bigger? Stop it, Grace. It was just a nightmare. I was waiting for the results of the casting for a beauty contest and became very suspicious. What's that? I looked closer and saw a black hair on my chin. What an abomination! Then my mother knocked on the door. I grabbed the tweezers and yanked the thing out. I didn't want anyone to see it. After breakfast, I rushed to the cosmetologist. Eddie gave me a facial as usual. He also said that my body has become very athletic. I decided to show off. I don't even exercise abs. It's just proper nutrition. Then I went to the cafe, where my boyfriend and girlfriends were waiting for me. On the way, I received a message. Results of the selection for the contest. I was about to open it when my phone went dead. I ran into the cafe and immediately began to look for an outlet to charge the phone. Everyone was eager to know if I was a contestant. Finally, it turned on and... yes, I entered. My boyfriend Mick said he was always proud to be dating the first beauty in school. Of course, a lot of boys were hitting on me. But Lisa and Anne were sitting with long faces. Anne said that they were afraid of failing the upcoming test, and they were not in the mood for fun right now. Hey, I'm having a holiday here. What test? Lisa chimed in. She and Anne were so worried that they were even starting taking sedative pills and offered to try them. Okay, give me. I was also nervous before the contest and decided that it would not be superfluous. The next morning, I woke up with a swollen face. It's strange. There's no such effect after facial. I opened my eyes and went to the mirror, and suddenly... what's wrong with me? The hairs on my chin, and not just one. There were already about 50 of them. It looks like stubble, just like Mick's. I grabbed the tweezers and began to pull out the hairs, but they were so hard. I couldn't do it. Did someone curse me? I hurried to my cosmetologist. He must have made up something and made me a mask with hormones. I was furious, stormed into his office and made a scene. Eddie had a client at the time. But I didn't care. He was surprised and began to assure me that he did not do anything wrong to me. The client did not like the showdown. She was indignant and immediately left. Eddie tried to stop her, but she didn't even turn around. I've never seen him so angry. He kicked me out and shouted at me not to come back. I felt ashamed. Maybe I shouldn't have turned against him. I went to see him all these years, but what's wrong with me? Stop. Maybe it's because of the pills Lisa and Anne gave me. I had long suspected that my friends were jealous of me and my beauty. After Eddie, I cooled down, let the girls admit everything. I went to the cafe where we agreed to meet. Silently sat down in opposite and took off my hood. My friends looked at me with their mouths open. I said the stubble was because of their damn sedatives and asked not to look at me like that. The girls immediately started making excuses, but I didn't believe them. But what's wrong with my voice? It abruptly became low and rough. Maybe my voice broke. I cleared my throat, but my voice was still deep like a man's. I was so ashamed that I just ran away. My mother met me at home and asked me what had happened. I was afraid that she would see my face and I quickly slipped into the room. Mommy, I don't know what's wrong with me. I stole my dad's razor from the bathroom and shaved off my stubble. The skin became smooth and it calmed me down a little. I went to bed hoping that everything would go away in the morning. Mick woke me up in the morning. He was banging insistently on the door. I jumped, and suddenly I felt that after shaving, the stubble was twice as much. Hair grew all over my body. I was itching, and the pajamas seemed to have become too small. I froze in my tracks. What if Mick leaves me because of the way I look now? I told Mick to leave. My voice was still rough, even though I was trying to make it higher. But Mick demanded to be let in immediately. When I opened the door, I saw the disgust on his face. Mick said he needed to get home right away. After that, he sent a text message that we were breaking up. I didn't want to leave the house at all, but I had to test that day. Pulling myself together, I began to get ready for school. I didn't want to ruin my grade for the year because of all this. To hide everything, I put on a hoodie and the whitest jeans, skipped by my favorite dresses. I slipped into the classroom and sat far away so that no one would recognize me. But suddenly, someone pulled off my hood. Mick! He said I was a liar. That I hid my ugliness from him and only pretended to be beautiful. I tried to explain that it was temporary. But then my classmates began to laugh at us. They teased me as a bearded woman, which only the circus wear. I could not collect thoughts on the test. Everyone was cheering, and everyone even threw a pencil at me, and I jumped from my seat in surprise. The teacher sternly asked me to sit down and take off my hood in class. I don't want my classmates to laugh at me again. But a couple of days ago, everyone adored me. I couldn't take it anymore. So I took my things and ran out of the classroom. I came home in tears. I didn't even try to hide from my mother. It didn't make any sense now. My mother was surprisingly calm and said it was just hormonal failure. This was normal at my age. I was not lost yet. My mom told me I needed to take a hormone test, so we went to the doctor. I was looking forward to the results of the examination. Let them give me a magic 4 and this whole nightmare will be over. A doctor came out and told us that I was turning into a boy. How could this be? Are you all crazy here? The doctor explained that I was intersex, a person who may have both female and male secondary sexual characteristics. Unfortunately, this had only just come to light, and now I would develop as a boy. I burst into tears. Mom tried to calm me down, but I thought it was over. My ears were buzzing like after an explosion. We returned home, and I locked myself in my room. It's no easy to accept such news. Then I got a message. I completely forgot that today was the first stage of the beauty contest. I really wanted to get there. I began to think about how the jury and the audience would react. After all, the stubble was so noticeable. I wanted to shave and put some foundation on my stubble. But then I realized I didn't want to do it for the rest of my life. Didn't want to pretend I was the same as before. Didn't want to be ashamed. I was very worried, but I exhaled and went out to my parents. My mom asked me if I really wanted to go. I replied I was really going to perform. It was clear that I had no chance of winning, but I needed it. I ran into the dressing room when the competition had already started. There was a swimsuit show. I barely got it on. And suddenly realized, yes, my body had changed. But I was still the same. I didn't lose my true beauty. Then the host called my name, and I came on stage with a sincere smile. At first, I was applauded, but then the whole hall began to hum indignantly. The audience shouted that there was a man on the stage. The host stopped the show. He asked me what I was doing here. Here it is. The moment of truth. I froze for a second and got scared. But then I saw my parents in the crowd, and Lisa and Anne, they smiled at me, unlike everyone else. I tried not to think about the audience and the jury. I needed those words. And I started talking. I used to strive to be the most beautiful. And now I am the most beautiful. Just like all of us. I hope that one day people will become truly free and stop chasing dubious ideals. So I did a couple of days ago. Yes, my body has changed, but inside I'm still the same. First of all, I'm a person with my own dreams and goals. And I'm standing on the stage right now to prove it to myself and to you. We all want to be beautiful, but we don't have to follow the standard ideal. The main thing is to learn to love yourself. I'm not shy anymore. Someone in the hall started applauding me, then someone else, and now almost everyone was clapping for me. Did they really understand what I was talking about and accepted me? The jury began to confer about something, and they wanted to tell me something. But I just walked away, not waiting to hear. To be honest, now I didn't care what they said. I already won. I proved to myself how strong and beautiful I could be. With stubble and unshaven men's legs. Who I really wanted to see now were my parents and friends. With such close ones, I definitely had nothing to fear. I didn't need to prove anything.